So I'm going to start sifting through some of these questions now that we're there. So hopefully you guys are still on that. Let's start asking questions. Thoughts on Danial Zamani. I think that's how you say his name. Danial, for those of you who don't know, Danial Zamani is an Iranian powerlifter. He was I think a single ply lifter for a long time, benched over 800 pounds single ply, and he recently converted over to raw bench. This guy is a tank. If anyone at this point in time would give me a run for my money in the next year, will be Danial, right? So, and a lot of people, throw that in my face and they act like, that that I'm scared that my title is at stake. Well, I mean, guys, that's the whole point of this sport, is to outdo one another, right? So why would I be mad if someone came along to outdo me? That's not going to do anything but challenge me to work harder and take advantage of the opportunity that I finally have not finally, because my boy Thomas Davis, Johnny Harris, those are 700 plus pound benchers. But when it comes to like someone who's like literally breaking down the barriers, it's Danial. But you got to understand, this gives me an opportunity to have a challenge. You got to understand, whenever I compete, I'm always competing against myself. I'm never competing against anyone else simply because there's really no one in my league at the moment. Even Danial is still so far off. He's made exponential growth over the past 4 months, but still there comes a point in time where you start to hit these walls. And that's what the only part that frustrates me is not that people are well, yeah, that does frustrate me because people don't have respect for the hard work that I've put in. Think about it. Out of all these YouTube videos that I've posted, you guys see how much work I put in. So the fact that somebody can come along and, for people who don't know much about the sport or about weightlifting, just to say, oh, you better get ready, he's taking your title. When you don't know what I've been through, you don't know what it takes to get to the top. Yeah, it might seem like it when someone's making crazy leaps, but eventually you will hit a wall. And sometimes it takes you years to get over that wall. I remember being stuck at 650. I was stuck at 650 for about a year. At 650 for a year, I couldn't break 650. But once, we continue to target those weaknesses, and, I got stronger. It took me over a year to break that. Put it this way, it took me over a year to go from 635 or 640 to 650. It took me about a year. You got to understand, the average person can only add on 10 to 20 pounds on their 1 rep max per year. If even that. Would you get 900 pounds one day on bench? I have to get 800 first. I've started doing 10 by 3s, 80 to 85% lately. Is that something you do? So I don't do as many reps in a set. For me, I'd probably flip it. I would probably add a few more reps in. So for example, like I said, when it comes to me doing high volume, I'm doing anywhere from 5 to 10 sets, 5 to 6 reps per set. Just because I know it, even if you flipped it, even if I did 10 sets, even if I did 5 sets of 10, I think that would be counterproductive for me. Meaning I don't think it would be as efficient, because really all we're searching for is a 1 rep. So I would lean more towards the lesser reps and higher sets than higher reps, fewer sets. It takes a lot out of you doing multiple reps with the fewer sets this is my opinion, than doing fewer reps and higher sets. So I don't know if it helped any. I would probably flip it around and maybe start out with lighter, even go lower percentages. I'd start out with maybe, again, what the staple is for me in the beginning is 5 by 10s, 5 reps, 10 sets. So, and I would start at like 70% when you're going for 800 in June. Brent Simmons says, Jew, much respect, my man. You're going to get 800 pounds. My man, I'm just wondering what your goals are after 800 pounds. I planned on doing strongman. Again, I don't know. I don't know what my future holds. I know that I do have a passion for real estate and stock market. So that's what I do on spare time. And ultimately, my goal is to build financial freedom. Financial freedom to where I can take my kids and my family and do things that I wasn't able to do whenever I was younger with my parents. Like, for example, me and my family, we've never been on vacation together. Never got to go on a vacation. So whenever I would see my friends, be able to go on vacation, they wouldn't be as happy about it. And I'm like, guys, you're going on vacation with your family. At that point in time, I've never left the state of Kentucky. So, coming from poverty and coming from a dysfunctional background, like we don't get to see things like that. Ultimately, I'm going to travel the world. Still going to, do strength sports, whether it's strongman or whatever the case may be. I'm going to give it a shot. But ultimately, my main goal is creating financial freedom. No matter how that looks, I'm still going to continue to grow the regular strength brand. Guys, don't forget to share the videos and go on to regularstrength.com. If you're looking for programs, bench programs or hypertrophy programs, upper and lower body workouts, I have them at irregularstrength.com. Also merch too. Other PRs, at any given time, I can hit a 700-pound squat, 700-pound bench press at any given time. Eddie Hall, Thor. Definitely Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall is going to knock the stuffing out of Thor's Egg McMuffin. I'm just letting you know that. I've been watching training. Thor looks great, but Eddie Hall looks like he's bringing more power. At the end of the day, we don't know. I just know that I'm going to be there. What type of bar do you recommend? I use Texas Power Bars. What other records would you like to have a go for? I would say, like I said, 800-pound bench, log press championship. Eventually, I want to cut down. Listen, I know this may sound crazy, but I want to cut down to under 350 pounds. I've always had this vision. I just remember, like as a kid, even as a kid, I've always been a very athletic person. Always been, my goal was to try to keep up with people as half my size. That's why if you've ever seen me work out, like I work circles around people, literally. But I had this Nike commercial where the guy just puts on his shoes. He hops out of bed. He already has his Nike shoes on, and he just takes off running out the door, and he goes on a run. And for some reason, I had a dream that was me, and I was shredded to the gill. And I was like, I want to be like that one day. I want to be like the guy where I can just throw my shoes on, put my headphones in, and just run, like Forrest Gump, running. I just want to be able to just run, right? So I don't know. For some reason, I have a desire to cut down. And believe it or not, at one point in time when I was about 320 pounds, I ran a mile. I ran a mile in under 7 minutes, believe it or not, in high school. I ran a mile in under 7 minutes, and I was 320 pounds. Now, given it took me like 10 weeks to get there, my first mile was 15 minutes. And week by week, it was for basketball conditioning. We kept continuing to just chip off the time. And that's life, man. Like when you're not good at something, you work at it and you just keep getting better. And eventually I got down to being able to do a mile under 7 minutes. What was your max on bench when you started out? My max, there's really no way to gauge it. But the first time that I competed on my first competition day, I hit 525 pounds. And I have been lifting for about 6 months. Fernando is asking me, Julius, do you think sumo deads is cheating? Thoughts on Jamal? Jamal's a teammate of mine. We're both sponsored by Ghost. Have nothing bad to say. The reason why is because have you ever seen somebody even sumo over 1,000 pounds? So at the end of the day, I don't knock anybody, to each his own. If it counts, it counts. So if the federations count it, there's nothing I can say about it. That's it. There's nothing else I can say about it. So at the end of the day, strong guy. I mean, super strong. What is the best reps and sets for strength on bench, in your opinion? Well, each phase has different sets, recommended sets and reps. So you have a volume phase, which my phases are built about anywhere from, it just depends on how far I am out from a meet. So just put it this way, say I'm 24 weeks out. we'll break those up into 8-week blocks, right? So we'll go 8 weeks. We'll go 8 weeks volume, almost like a speed phase, and then a strength phase. Volume is extremely lightweight. Like I'd say volume phase is usually between 60 and 75%. The speed phase for me is usually about, 80 to 95%. Strength phase is usually 90 to 100 plus percent, meaning overloading, right? So that's what my understanding of it. Is it absolutely 100 or correct to textbooks? Probably not, but for me, it works. So I can actually say, yes, that works for me and my clients that I do, the few that I do coach, that I choose to coach. And it's not like I'm getting paid for it. I do it out the kindness of my heart because I love to support people that have disabilities. So I got one guy that's a paralifter, meaning he's paralyzed. Antonio is a para powerlifter, and he is extremely strong, right? I think the most he's benched is like 575 gym lift. He holds, a couple records, but these are things that the people that are also close to me that I help do their programming. But I do the same concept across the board, the same concept in my programs. And so that's kind of how I approach, any kind of bench press. Would you recommend using max legal grip? I don't know what legal grip is. I know that I wouldn't recommend doing suicide grip where your hands are open. Tips, novices, 1 to 2 years, plateau to bench. For a novice and someone who is new to this, understand the technique. There's no such thing as perfect form, but you need to get your technique and get your leverages down pat, meaning leg drive, maintaining tightness. And we're working on a video discussing all this, just basic. But ultimately, it's getting you a program. I'm doing programming. I do programming. So my coach Josh Brandt does my programming every week. That's why I decided to come out with bench programs, templates that you can follow. Go to irregularstrength.com and you can order you a template. I think my 8-week bench program is on sale right now, and I have a 12-week program that is a little more advanced. I would advise you to go through the 8-week program first and then go through the 12-week. But think about it. That's 20 solid weeks of programming for under $100. 20 solid weeks. If you're a firm believer and you want to get stronger, you will invest in yourself. And that's one thing you need to invest in, is get you a solid program. I'm not even saying you got to buy my program. Buy you a program that's catered towards your needs. I offer that at irregularstrength.com. But if you don't buy mine, make sure you get a program or get a coach. So I'm not the type of guy that's going to say, you have to buy my program. You buy my program. No, I'm going to tell you to find a structured program that is basically rooted in progressive overloading, that helps you to build slowly over a long period of time, and learn the basics, learn the anatomy of the body and what muscles to target whenever you're trying to increase whatever lift, whether it's squat, deadlift, or bench. That's the main thing. That is the main thing, is learning the muscles that support your main lifts, right? So a lot of people think, oh, well, to bench press, you get stronger, you just need to build your chest up. No, there's other muscles such as your back, your whole back, because your back is a stabilizer, helps stabilize the muscle. Even your biceps, look it up. Don't take whatever I'm saying, don't take it as gold. Go look it up, do the research yourself, right? So your biceps, another stabilizer. Rotator cuffs, obviously, stabilizer. All these things will help the lift be more fluid. The more stable the weight, the more leverage you get, the stronger you're going to get ultimately, because you're able to lift the weight. So everything works together. You're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So understand that. What are your thoughts on bands or chains? I prefer bands, and I only prefer to do 15 to 20% of band weight. That's it. Conjugate lifters, it's a little different. I don't change up my workouts as much. The concept in conjugate, where you're training heavy on up until your up until your meet day. I don't necessarily believe that. I believe in resting, and I believe in getting really good at a certain lift. And it's not as complicated as we need to make it. I think, this is my opinion, Louis believes differently, but I don't think it has to be as complicated where you're switching out and changing out different different machines, different body parts. We keep it same, plain Jane across the board, get really good at it. The thing, here's what you need to do. Again, like I said, if you want to get stronger, you need to focus on building the muscles that support the movement. Again, so you're talking triceps. For bench press, you're talking triceps. You build your triceps. So again, you want to identify the weakness, where the weakness is at. So if you're sticking off the chest, I would do floor presses. I would do pin presses. I would incorporate things like that to help get that explosivity off the chest. For me, piston push-ups, where you're doing really short push-ups, just from anywhere from 1 to 3 inches off the ground, really fast as possible. So just doing things like that. If you're struggling with lockouts, guess what I would do? I would work on building my lockout strength with doing different tricep workouts, doing bands. I'm a firm believer in bands. I love utilizing bands in bench press, doing isometric presses, doing JM presses. These are things that help target different weak points when it comes to your sticking points when it comes to bench press. Just meaning, is your bench program good for the little guys? My bench program is for all people. And that's why I made the template to be able to cover it. Some people say it can't be done. Well, I did it. I've done it. And I've sold literally thousands upon thousands of bench programs. Of my 8-week program over the past year and a half, I've sold probably 5,000+ of them. And 99% of people told me that I got comments where people left reviews that they've said, listen, I've added on 20 pounds. I've went up 200% on my bench. It's crazy because, again, we focus on the basic principles of bench press. It doesn't have to be complicated. All we do is we incorporate a lot of volume and accessory work. We help you build slowly on your bench press. We help you build a solid foundation in the beginning, and we help build slowly on your bench press. And we target the weak points overall that we all struggle with, which is going to be accessory work. Most people don't incorporate. They think you can just come in, do sets and reps of bench, maybe another chest accessory, and then you're done. No. We hit a back variation every single day. On bench days, we hit triceps. We hit back, triceps, chest. We do top set and drop sets. So there's a lot of volume. There's a lot of building. If you are one of those guys where you just like to come in and just tip, as my basketball coach used to say whenever I used to be lazy, if you think you're just going to come in and tiptoe through the tulips with this program, no. You better bring 2 lunch boxes, because especially with this 12-week program, it's going to put you to work. But there's going to be results on the other end of it, right? So you're going to see results if you put in the work and you stick to it. But if you come in lackadaisical or tiptoeing through the tulips, then you're only going to get what you put in. That's across the board with anything. That's life in general. You're only going to get what you put in. That's it. That is it. My role model is my mom. She's always held it down from day one. Even when I went through addiction, I went through everything, my mom has supported me from day one. Max bench in kg, I think it's like 355. Yeah, most of the world does use kg. They do use kg. Finally got me some kg plates. So I will be working with kilograms a lot more. But it's easier for us because we know poundage and the rest of the world does kg. But I still have to adapt and start speaking that language because most of my followers, that's a common question they ask is, how much in kg? Yeah, so I allow my kids to work out. Sometimes I take my girls to the gym. I don't want to force them to do it. I just want them to do it on their own accord and will. So it's not like, so put it this way. Yes, I'm 435 pounds. Do I want to be 435 pounds? No, I don't want to be 435 pounds. But in order for me to reach this record, I'm going to have to be around this weight. Eventually, I will drop down, like I said in the feed before. I want to get down to under 350. If I get down anywhere around 300, I'll look sick, literally, simply because I'm just not built to be that small, right? How much do you sleep? I usually sleep between 7 to 9 hours. It just depends what I have going on, what time I got to bed. But usually I'm up about 7 every day doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So you're stuck around 270. Without doing a program, what I can tell you is A lot of times you're hitting a plateau is because you're not working off percentages. So get your accurate 1 rep max, not your 1 rep max from last year, not your 1 rep max from 4 months ago. Your current accurate 1 rep max. Start at 60%. Get you some high volume in, like what we talked about earlier in this live, and move up 5% a week. Every week, go up 5% on your intensity. So 5% of whatever your 1 rep max is, starting at 60%, meaning week 1, 60%, week 2, 65%, week 3, 70%, week 4, 75%, week 5, 80%, so on up to a 1 rep max. And don't forget to do your accessories: biceps, back, chest. Hey, I'm going to attempt to break the junior national bench record in my age and weight category at my meet tomorrow. I'm hella nervous. Listen, tips to keep calm. Bro, it's going to be okay. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. As long as you don't get injured, and I'm not wishing it upon you, as long as you don't get injured, you will live another day. So one thing is, make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're getting a lot of water. Make sure you're carbing up. And don't eat anything outside of what you're not used to eating. So don't go on go on a loose limb and go out and think you're going to eat sushi and you ain't ate sushi in 8 months. No, only stick to things that you know, right? So eat things that you're comfortable with, because I've done it and I've ate stuff that I probably shouldn't have ate the night before that I'm not used to eating, and it carried over to the next day, and I didn't have a very good day the next day. What is my favorite back accessory movement? My favorite accessory is, I would say, back seal rolls. I have a seal roll machine, but simply seal rolls because they help you isolate the back. There's no cheating, and it's in the same plane as a bench press. So it allows you to really focus on building your back. And your back is key. Your back is a foundation or a platform for you to have a big bench press. The old saying, big back, big bench. That's very true. So if you're having trouble with unstable, like you can lift a weight, but it's really unstable, like really shifty and shaky, a lot of times it's a stability issue, and you need to build up your stabilizers, your rear delts, your lats, even your trap. What do I recommend for building chest? Push-ups. Push-ups are old school, guys. Push-ups have always been a staple. That's why, in prisons, when they ain't got no weight stack, they do push-ups. What Louis Simmons says, do weighted push-ups. So you can get you a jacket or a vest, do some weighted push-ups. You can put some plates on your back, do weighted push-ups. But ultimately, the best way to build overall, all-around strength, not just your chest, is follow a program. Follow a bench program. It doesn't have to be mine. Again, as I stated before, just make sure it's catered toward what you can afford and what you like. I offer multiple bench press programs. An 8-week bench program that is great for intermediate and beginners. So guys, go to irregularstrength.com, irregularstrength.com, and get that bench program. I was 140 kg, 315 pounds, bench before lockdown, started 2 years ago. And since I haven't been to the gym, just training body weight, etc. at home. How long will it take to get strength back? I'd say you should start seeing strength back in the next 6 weeks. Vitamins, definitely all your vitamin complexes, vitamin D, vitamin B, calcium, all those things that's in your daily vitamins. Go to mhpstrong.com. They have a multivitamin. I recommend multivitamins. Also, I throw in krill oil. They're like little pills that you can get. Krill, I hope I'm saying that right. Krill oil is better than regular fish oil. Supposedly, it's a little more expensive. But I've noticed, seriously, since I've started taking krill oil, my inflammation, period, just in general, my joints, my tendons, my inflammation has went down over the past 5 weeks that I've been taking krill oil. So, and supposedly krill oil is good for your blood pressure, for your cardiovascular. There's so many benefits from krill oil. So make sure you get some of that. I get it at Sam's Club. You get a double pack for like $24. And it's like, now you get a single pack for like $20, but the single pack is like 100 plus servings, which is 60 for me because I double up on it. Best shoes for bench press. I would advise a shoe with a heavy arch on it. I mean, with a heavy heel. So Nike has some nice shoes that powerlifting shoes, but they always fit a little small, so get a size big. But just look up Nike powerlifting shoes. They have a decent heel, simply because for leg drive. But ultimately, I think you should be able to bench in any shoe. Really, it's just about where you place your feet at. I've heard of two different arguments about foot position for leg drive. Some say feet behind the knees, and some say feet in front of the knees. Obtuse angle at the knee. What are your thoughts on this? Well, how can you get leg drive? Here's all right, let's break it down this way. When you are upwards towards 90, 95% to 100% of your one rep max, oftentimes you will see a breakdown in form. You are going to see a breakdown in form. For bench press, typically the first thing that goes is what? Your feet. If your feet aren't in a fixed position to where you're getting the leverage, then your feet are going to slip out in front of you. So if your feet are already out in front of you, they're going to be more prone to come off the ground or be unstable. But if your feet are behind your knees, that's going to give you leverage to be able to drive and use leg drive to transition from your feet through your quads, through your core, exerting through the movement. So it's all about leverage. Bench press is all about leverage. I'm going to say it again. Bench press is all about leverage. You cannot get leg leverage, leg drive if your feet are in front of your knees. I recently did a video on this last week. Go back and look at the last week's video where just randomly and solely it happened that I helped someone fix their leg drive or fix their bench. So go back, look at that video, and we are working on a more in-depth video on the proper way to bench press and why. Not just saying, all right, this is what you need to do, and then just moving on. We're going to explain this is what you need to do, and this is why you need to do it. Yes, I drink whey protein. It's just a supplement, just to get some extra protein in. I wouldn't advise you drinking that all the time. Yes, I do drink Aminos. I drink EAAs with the amino complex. You can get all this stuff at. Here's why MHP, the brand I support, they have the cheapest price supplements out there. And they're good. They've been around for 20 plus years. So you can go to mhpstrong.com, put in promo code irregular strength, and get you like 15 to 20% off your supplements. And a lot of times when you spend 50 or more, you're going to get a great deal on your supplements, and they throw in free merchandise. Yes, I've had elbow pain. With elbow pain, when I do have elbow pain, I get rest. I allow it to heal up. A lot of the reasons here, real quick, this is gonna be the last question I'm gonna answer. Listen, for everybody who suffers from injuries, the reason why a lot of times that you get elbow inflammation, irritations to the elbow or shoulders is because you are lifting too much weight. The load is too much, and you're not allowing your joints and your tendons to catch up. So again, your muscles grow at an exponential rate whenever you're weightlifting. They grow fast. Your joints and your tendons take longer time to catch up to your muscles. So a lot of times when you're doing that pounding all the time and you're going, you're trying to get stronger and without with using heavier weight, and you're not building a foundation first, then you're going to start having those issues. You're going to start getting your tendonitis. You're going to start getting those impingements in the shoulder. You'll start having those problems. So that's why you see me, and it seems repetitive all the time, where you'll see me building up on YouTube. You'll see me building up over weeks upon weeks, going at lower intensity, meaning the weight is like 60%. Then we go up weekly, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90 to a one rep max. And then once I peak, we'll start all over. We'll set the numbers over again to the new PR, and we'll start at 60%, and we'll keep building up. And that's the best way to do it. That is the best way to do it. That's allowing my body to catch up. That's allowing the joints and the tendons to give them rest. And also, guys, if you're not implementing a deload week, meaning where you drop the weight, you drop the intensity, and you drop the sets and reps for a week, then that's another reason. That's what Bill Kazmaier told me. He said, one thing that I did wrong is I never took a break. Bill Kazmaier, one of the greatest bench pressers in the history of the world, would finish out his bench sessions repping out 500 pounds. And he would do this multiple times a week. But he would do this week after week after week after week, and never gave his body a chance to fully recover. sometimes it takes our joints and our ligaments a longer time to respond. So, guys, I'm just passing you knowledge that I've attained over the past 6 years training under Josh Bryant, listening and following Matt Winning and Thomas Davis and Leroy Walker and C.T. Fletcher, and taking a little piece of everybody's training theologies, just little bitty pieces, and applying them to myself. And one thing is, I'm always going to remain teachable. When somebody tells me somebody to take a look at something that I potentially could be doing wrong, I stop and I take a look at it, whether in the gym or outside of the gym. That's life. Always remain teachable. You'll find that the people that think they know it all, they're the fastest to fall. They're the ones that are miserable. They're the ones that that people don't like to be around. So again, always remain teachable.